This video summarizes the second module in CS4All. The topics covered will be the programming concepts of variables, with a focus on local variables, as well as procedures, and finally looping and iteration. Variables are containers that hold a value. They have properties that define them, a name that will be used to refer to them, such as side length, a type such as number or boolean, which could have values of true or false, and a physical location in memory. The value can be used or changed. Variables can be declared, initialized, called, and modified. Declaring allocates space in memory and sets the name for the variable. The variable also needs to be initialized, which will give it an initial value. In this example, we are declaring the variable side length and initializing it to 4. Once that is done, the variable can be called, which means using the stored value, or it can be modified, which means changing the stored value. This command tells the turtle to move forward using the variable side length. Side length was set to the value 4 on the previous slide. Next, we change side length to equal 6 and ask the other turtle to move forward 6 steps. Next, we'll talk about procedures in NetLogo. Procedures are named blocks of code. You can use the name to call or invoke the procedure. Programs are usually decomposed into procedures, which can call other procedures. In NetLogo, procedures begin with to and end with end. Here is an example illustrating procedures, one called setup and one called make square. We have a simple procedure for drawing a square and the setup procedure calling it. When the setup button is clicked, the make square procedure is called and it draws the square. There are several reasons to use procedures. They help decompose the problem into simpler steps. As a result of using them, the code will be easier to understand. The code itself can be reused within a program, reducing the presence of duplicate code. Also, if there is a bug in the program, using procedures makes it easier to debug your code and isolate the bug. One type of variable programmers will encounter a lot is the local variable. Local variables can be used in a procedure or command block where they are declared. They cannot be accessed elsewhere. This coding example illustrates error. Since the variable side length is declared in the setup procedure, it cannot be used in the drawLine procedure, causing an error. This is an example of correctly using a local variable. It is declared and initialized in the drawLine procedure where it is used. Next, we will address loops and iterations. At a simple level, loops are just code that is repeated more than once. They are powerful and efficient and exist in most programming languages. They are an efficient way to avoid duplicate code. They also help to avoid retyping or copy-pasting code, which can both result in errors. A related concept is the idea of iterations, which just means how many times something is repeated. There are 3 types of loops in NetLogo: infinite, conditional, and counted loops. In this presentation, we'll address infinite and counted loops. Conditional loops will be discussed in a later module. Infinite loops run until there is an external stop command, something is manually turned off, or until there is a runtime error. An infinite loop is what happens if you check the forever option when creating a button. Here the go button is a forever button. It has circular arrows in the lower right corner. Counted loops, like the name suggests, are repeated a certain number of times. Sometimes a loop counter is involved, and the program keeps track of the number of iterations. This example uses a loop to draw a square. Instead of calling the forward and turning commands 4 times, as shown earlier, a counted loop is used. The local variable side length is used as well. Thank you for watching the video.